What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're here for NXT review for last night's episode of NXT from October 30th, 2019. We are on our way to NXT TakeOver War Games, and we had a War Games match announced last night and another one teased. So it looks like we are going to have two War Games matches. Well, you're wondering how are we going to have two? Isn't it just guys? No, the War Games match that we had announced and WWE actually went through with this is the first ever women's War Games match. Now, we don't know all of the participants, even though I'm pretty sure we have a good idea coming out of last night's episode. But we do know the captains, as in Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley. Those are your War Games captains. Now, over the next 4 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it is, we will have an inclination on who's going to actually be on these teams. The show, we had Candice versus IO Shairi. Before the show was also announced, the main event was to be announced as Matt Riddle and Keith Lee versus the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Non-title match. Even though when the match was over, the announcer announced as if the tag team titles were on the line, which made absolutely no sense. Also on this show, if you remember, last week Tyler Bate did have some problems with Cameron Grimes, so they had a match on this show tonight. This show was, in my opinion, I think better this week than AEW's show. I'm not trying to sit here and compare either, the two shows. I'll leave that up to Brian Zane and his Wednesday Warfare. That's where you need to see. That's where you go for a comparison of these shows. Which show did better? But if I had to say something, NXT just felt more fluid. NXT, both shows were good. I will say that both shows were good. Just like Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Tuesdays are your night for good wrestling. You have NWA Power, AEW Dark, and if you are somebody who has Access TV, which a lot more people do than Pursuit, Impact Wrestling from 8 to 10. That is 4 hours of wrestling right there. And that's 4 hours wrestling that is way better than anything you will see on Monday Night Raw. If you watch Monday Night Raw, and you go through and you watch it, and you're just feeling this upset stomach feeling, you're just feeling like something's not right. You feel down, you feel depressed, everything just feels wrong. It's because Monday Night Raw is sucking the life right out of you. You don't get that with the NWA Power. You don't get that with any AEW Dark. You don't get that with Impact Wrestling. 3 great shows, good shows right there. Then you roll into Wednesday. Wednesday, you have a choice. And apparently, I didn't know this until I watched the show today, but NXT decided USA decided they were going to do an encore presentation of NXT on TV right after the show went off the air, just like AEW did the first 2 or 3 weeks of their show. They would have the live show, and then they would go right into a encore presentation. So I didn't know that, or I probably would have maybe watched NXT last night as well. But the show started off with Poppy in Full Sail. We have a video package of the recent highlights of last week on the big screen as singer and YouTube star Poppy performs "I Disagree" single on the stage along with her band. I have no idea who Poppy is outside of IO Shairi's theme music. I don't know who the hell she is, but she sang. We had that song go off. Then we transitioned right into IO Shairi with her "Scary Mask" single. I don't know what they're doing with IO Shairi. IO Shairi came out to the biggest babyface pop that I haven't heard from IO Shairi since she turned on Candice LeRae months ago. So she came out and she was huge over with the crowd tonight. Makes her way to the ring. This is the same song they used as the video package to provide a hyper takeover Toronto 2019 match with Candice LeRae back in August. Poppy heads to the ring with Shairi while performing, and they pose in the middle of the ring as the fans cheer. LeRae is out next as Alicia Taylor does the introduction, and these two go at each other. Right off the bat, was this as good as their takeover from Takeover? What was it, 25? No. This was This was a good match. It just we can't, and that's something that people like to do is they like to compare a takeover or a pay-per-view match to a TV match, which is rightfully so. People want to do that. This match was good, but it wasn't as good as that match, and it wasn't going to be just because you have TV time. And of course, even with picture-in-picture, having a match that's good, go to the commercial break, and you have this, and you have action going on. It still takes away from the match because you're not hearing the action, you're not hearing the crowd, you're just seeing in a little window wrestlers wrestling. And it's just, yeah, it doesn't work. I mean, picture-in-picture is nice and everything. If WWE wants to do the no wrestling during commercials thing, then picture-in-picture is the way to go to make sure there's wrestling during commercials. But Candice drops Shirai with a big kick for a 2 count. Shirai goes on and drops Candice out of the corner for another 2. Shirai keeps close control and tries to put Candice away once again. Shirai keeps Candice grounded as the fans rally Candice, try and get her to fight back. Shirai slams Candice back on the mat, Shirai with a drop kick. Getting into the end of this match, Io Shirai brings a chair into the ring. She's going to use that chair, and the referee takes the chair away. Io Shirai is arguing with the ref. Candice rolls her up. 1, 2, kick out. Well, while the referee, and this is on the referee how this match ended, she's rolling her up, so the referee did not throw the chair out of the ring. She puts the chair to the side and does the count 1, 2, and she kicks out. Candice goes up after a couple things. They're laying back and forth. Candice goes on and tries for a springboard moonsault from the second rope on Shirai while she's laying on the chair, but Shirai ends up moving, landing face first on the chair. Shirai gets the pin, 1, 2, 3, and that was that. Shirai ends up winning due to the chair anyway. After the match, Shirai stands tall. We go to some replays and she starts attacking and beating the piss out of Candice LeRae. And you kind of figure that she was being cheered the entire time. Both of these two were back and forth the crowd. The crowd was over on both of these guys' side. And then she finally is like, you know what? I hate you, Candice. I'm going to beat the hell out of you. So she gets on her. She starts beating on her. And then Rhea Ripley comes out, who's had problems with her, and told Io Shirai, if you ever say my name again in vain or say my name at all, I'm going to come out here and shove it back. I'm going to beat your ass. So she comes in, she swings the chair at Io Shirai, but Io Shirai moves out of the way and is out of here. We see Morello, Nigel McGuinness, and Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix at the announce table heading tonight's show. They confirmed the main event will be Undisputed Era versus Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. That should be an excellent match. It was an excellent match, and we'll talk about that later. We see a video package of highlights of Finn Balor's heel turn back from last week, including reactions from media, Balor's comments on backstage. Nigel says Balor is up next, and we go to commercial break. We see Damian Priest defeated Pete Dunne as we come back, and there will be a rematch next week. We go to the ring, and out comes Finn Balor to a loud, mixed reaction. Music's still the same, but he's not doing his usual hand gestures that he would usually do. We get the fans cheering and chanting, "Thank you, Finn." Balor talks about how it's funny the way things change. It's funny because 2 months ago, I was laying down for a guy who was supposedly the hottest act in the business because he put on a new mask. Well, I took my mask off, and now I'm the hottest thing going on in the business. Everyone has their opinions. The Office, the boys in the back, the tough guys on Twitter, others as well. The problem around here is that there are too many fans in the locker room when they should be sitting out there in the crowd. Let's make one thing clear. I don't watch this business. This business watches me. Fans chant NXT. Balor says, this brings me to one thing, Johnny Gargano. The heart of NXT. Fans boo Johnny's name. Balor congratulates Gargano on getting out of the hospital from last week's attack and then threatens to send him back if he gets in his way. Gargano, there won't be a Johnny wrestling if you get in my face. If I have to do this to you, you will be Johnny watches wrestling the way it's supposed to be. Drops the mic and makes his exit from the ring as his music hits. gets on the stage and flashes the finger guns and walks away. So excellent promo by Balor, just a scathing promo, just absolutely true. 2 months ago, SummerSlam, this guy was out there in a 1-minute squash to The Fiend, who at the time was absolutely the talk of the wrestling world. He was, and I use that word, was the hottest commodity in all of professional wrestling until Vince McMahon decided, oh, I gotta get my hands on this. I gotta mold it in my image. My image. He's a horror movie villain. He gets knocked down and he just keeps getting up and up and up. And Vince McMahon has ruined The Fiend. Just putting it out there. But he leads us to a video package of the women's tag team titles. Nigel McGuinness does. We get hype for Cameron Grimes versus Tyler Bate later in the show, and then we have Bronson Reed versus Shane Thorne. This was a okay match. Bronson Reed, of course, was in that breakout tournament. Shane Thorne, of course, has been around for, I think this is like his third or fourth year on the NXT brand. Of course, he was part of TM61 and then the Mighty until Nick Miller decided, you know what? Peace out. I'm going home, and then I'm going to Japan. So yeah, he's been on his own since Nick Miller decided, you know what? I just want to get out of here. So Bronson Reed ends up winning this match after Shane Thorne goes for a big hurricane runner, but Reed shoves him off in midair. Reed leaps and flies with a huge splash, nailing him for the pin. Bronson Reed is your winner. Meanwhile, the the custodians have to go get a couple spatulas to lift Shane Thorne off of the mat. Kathy Kelly is backstage with Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai. Kai admits they're nervous for tonight's title shot and say they worked hard to come back from knee injuries, but they will bring it on front to Kairi Sane and Asuka. Knox is also confident for tonight's match and says she couldn't think of a better way to win the titles than with her best friend. We get a vignette for Mia Yim, who was not on this show, even when we get to what we do after this tag team title match, she didn't show up for this, which kind of was odd. I thought, just to make this a little bit more even, I thought they would have had her come out, but no. But Tegan Knox, Dakota Kai, Team Kick versus Kairi Sane and Asuka Tag Team Championship match. This was, to say Kairi Sane and Asuka were loved coming back to NXT. We got a huge welcome back chant for these women. Kairi Sane and Asuka are supposed to be the bona fide heels, the evil women of the tag team division now. After what they did, they took out Paige, they used Green Mist, all that stuff. That's supposed to signify them being absolutely evil. They were treated as returning heroes in this entire match. You would have Asuka's gonna kill you, Kairi Sane, Kairi Sane. They would chant their tag team name, which I'm not going to chant it because I can't stand that name. But they were absolutely, we got welcome backs, formal ring introductions. Asuka starts off with Tegan Knox. Fans chant, Asuka's gonna kill you as the bell rings. They lock up and Asuka takes control with the headlock. This match, Asuka and Kairi Sane dominated 95% of this match, which usually in WWE booking means that if the team that's dominating is going to end up getting beat by a fluky pinfall or not a submission, but a fluky pinfall. It's going to be a roll-up. It's going to be, knees on, something. If it's a dominating match, the person who's dominating is going to end up losing. That did not happen in this match. This match ended, and I think Asuka finally learned how to mist right, because the first few times that she did the green mist, she would shoot out green mist, but she would miss half the mist would go over the person's head. She would mist, and her mouth would not be on the level of this person she's misting. It'd be up a little bit, so she's only hitting half of them, and the other half is gone, is missing. But she, Kai goes up for her finisher. Asuka, Kairi Sane blocks, distracts the referee. Asuka comes down, missed her so much that she just, like, she covered Dakota Kai's face in the mist. Asuka tags staying in. She did kick Dakota Kai in the head after the mist. So Dakota Kai is not laying on her back, because if she was laying on her back, the referee would have seen the green mist and probably would have threw the match out. Miss Kairi Sane goes up after she tags in, hits the insane elbow onto the back of Dakota Kai's neck, flips her over, lays on top of her head, so she's covering the green mist. So the referee counts 1, 2, 3. He doesn't see the green mist till after the match is over. Now, they stand tall as their music hits, and like the referee saw the green mist after the match was over. And Nigel McGuinness pointed out that he already made his decision. He can't go back and change it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Yes, he can. The referee could honestly just go back out there, go to the ref. Like this, if this was main roster, and this is how WWE would book this, the ref would see the green mist, go out to Alicia Taylor and be like, Asuka, like Dakota Kai's covered in mist. This match is going to be DQ with the Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai winning by disqualification. Ergo, giving them a reason why they should get another title shot. They didn't do that here. Referee is trying, after the match, Asuka and Sane stand tall. Asuka and Sane make their exits with the titles. Nox and Kai are in the ring recovering now when out comes the horsewomen Marina Shafir, Jessamine Duke, and in the middle, NXT Women's Champion, Shayna Baszler. They come to the ring. Of course, Shayna Baszler comes in first. Dakota Kai is just out of it. She can't do shit because of her eyes. So Tegan Nox decides she's going to fight all three of them. She attacks Shayna Baszler first. They double, but Duke and Shafir double team her. Nox fights them off, but she gets beat down as Baszler also nails a big kick. They kick Kai out of the ring. Duke and Shafir hold Nox down on the mat as Baszler gets ready to do the arms. Like they have her arm up in the elbow. In the L position like she would just before she does the stomp. You have Duke and Shafir holding that down when Rhea Ripley's music hits and she comes out from the stage and slowly walks to the ramp as Duke and Shafir take Nox to the floor while Baszler stands in the ring and waits for Ripley to come down. Ripley is taking her time for whatever reason. I know, and the reason happened to be is that IO Shairi runs down out of nowhere and drops Ripley at ringside and they brawl. Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae also get involved. Baszler and Ripley are the only two superstars left after everyone else gets fought off. They stare each other down and Ripley enters the ring. Baszler and Ripley go at it. The other superstars hit the ring as the brawl continues. Security and others run down from the backstage to break it up. General Manager William Regal appears on the crow's nest. I'm calling it the crow's nest because that's what it should be called. And tells them to be separated. The crowd's chanting, "War Games, War Games, War Games." So he's like, I have one simple solution for this. War Games. So yes, we are getting War Games with the women. Now, Shayna Baszler, now we don't know the full teams, and it's going to be Team Shayna Baszler versus Team Rhea Ripley. We don't know who is going to be on their teams just yet. Now, when it comes to this, I am on the fence when it comes to the Women's War Games match. There's the women's evolution. Can we stop with the whole women's evolution bullshit? That's a marketing campaign, and that's all it is. The women's wrestling, not the women's evolution. Women's wrestling. Does it deserve to have a War Games match? It could, yes. If you have the right women in the match, then yes. If we could have Asuka and Kairi Sane on Team Shayna Baszler and IO Shirai, there's your four on one side, and then you get Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, and Mia Yim on the other. Why did I leave out Candice? Why did I leave out Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai, Marina Shafir, and Jessamine Duke? Because those four women are not ready for a War Games match. Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, the few times that we have seen them in the ring, have looked atrocious. Last week, they faced off against Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai in a tag team match. And the reason it went as fast as it did, and the reason it ended so quickly and wasn't a long match, is because those two aren't ready to be in the ring in long-winded matches. Now, Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai just came back from major knee injuries, have to be reacclimated into the show. Tegan Nox really hasn't done much in WWE as of yet. She's had 5 matches. 4 matches. Oh, I'm sorry, 5 matches. Yeah, 5 matches in this year alone. So I just don't see those 4 being in this match. Give me Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, Asuka, and Shayna Baszler versus Rhea Ripley, Mia Yim, Candice LeRae, and Bianca Belair. That would make the most sense to me. Now, they have their choice to pick. Who knows who's actually going to be in this War Games match outside of Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley? We will find out in the next coming weeks. Am I excited? I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes, because what happens at the end of the show, I'm more excited for that match to be in War Games than this one. Not because the women don't deserve to have War Games. It just feels forced to me. Like, we haven't done this yet. We haven't had the all-women's War Games match, so we have to have the all-women's War Games match, because we have to do everything first. Impact Wrestling actually came out, and I was watching AEW at the time. I was actually up here. I came back into here to get ready to do AEW's review and went on Twitter. And just about the time the Women's War Games match was announced, Impact Wrestling posted a tweet about, make sure you check out the first ever Women's Lethal Lockdown match, which is their rendition of War Games. If you don't know what Lethal Lockdown is, go check out Tuesday Night Free match from a couple weeks ago when I reviewed a Lethal Lockdown match from Bound for Glory on 10-10-10. So, yes, Impact Wrestling still following WWE at its finest. Back from break, we see what just happened to set up the Women's War Games match, the first ever. This hasn't been confirmed, but it looks like the War Games match will see Women's Champion Shayna Baszler confirmed, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, Io Shirai, and Bianca Belair to take on Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, and a 5th partner, likely Mia Yim. Again, I don't want to. It's just like Io Shirai, definitely yes. Bianca Belair, yes. Shayna Baszler, yes. Candice LeRae, yes. Rhea Ripley, yes. Everybody else, no. It's just, they don't. See, we'll get into why I think the Men's War Games match makes more sense than this one. This one feels forced. This one feels like, and besides, you have, like, if this is going to be the actual thing, Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, Io Shirai, and Bianca Belair to take on Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, and possibly Mia Yim. What the fuck? Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler have been feuding for months. For months. Bianca Belair can't stand Shayna Baszler, yet you're going to book her to be on Shayna Baszler's team. That right there just tells me that's probably not going to be the case. Well, like I said, we'll have to wait and see. Now, Tegan Nox did come out and say that she was game for doing the War Games match and wanting to be on Rhea Ripley's team. Rhea Ripley did say that I want the toughest women on my team. You've been through 2 knee surgeries and haven't let it put you down. I'm good on that. Has not been confirmed, but that could be the first member. Again, the women's division, it just doesn't feel like all these women have a reason to be in a War Games match against each other. Quite honestly, outside of the horsewomen, Shayna Baszler has been killing each and every like, she killed Io Shirai to the point. She cracked Io Shirai so badly to where Io Shirai lost it and became a heel and just became the Joshi Judas. Bianca Belair and her have been feuding. Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley hasn't done much. Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai just came back, and Mia Yim's had her problems with Shayna Baszler. It just wouldn't make any sense to have Shayna Baszler on a team with Io Shirai and Bianca Belair. Outside of just because, they're like, especially Io Shirai, they're heels, so they got to team up. Give me a reason why Shayna Baszler would team up with Bianca Belair. Give me a reason why Io Shirai would team up with Shayna Baszler. Tyler Bate versus Cameron Grimes. This match was pretty good. Tyler Bate just out there showing you that this guy can work well with anybody. Of course, the last time I believe we saw him wrestle that I saw him wrestle was against Walter in that classic from NXT UK Takeover Cardiff in August. If you haven't seen that show yet, go check that out. That was some fantastic wrestling. That is how you do that is how you do a David versus Goliath type shot match. And that is neither here nor there. This was, again, a good match. But this match was here to set up something else for Killian Dane. Cameron Grimes and him are having this match. Tyler Bates diving through the ropes. Cameron Grimes runs and stops him. Grimes drives Bates down to the mat for a close 2 count. We go to break. We come back. They go and they have some more fight. Grimes looks to retreat to the floor for a breather, but Bates pulls him back in. Grimes with a back elbow. Bates clotheslines Grimes to the floor. Bates with a rolling kick to nail Grimes at the ropes. Bates runs the ropes again and nails a huge suicide dive, and the fans chant NXT. Bates throws Cameron Grimes back into the ring, and all of a sudden, Killian Dane is outside. He's just barking. He's barking words at Tyler Bates. He's just barking words. He's yelling at him. That distracts Tyler Bates, who walks back in and gets hit with the cave-in. Double stomp for the 1, 2, 3. Cameron Grimes picks up the win, beating Killian Dane. I mean, not Killian Dane, but Tyler Bates. After the match, Grimes stands tall as his music hits, but he quickly makes his exit because he wants no part of Killian Dane, and neither would I. Dane enters the ring and nails a big senton on Bates while he's down. Bates is down to the floor, leaning against the steel steps. Dane nails a cannonball into Bates in the steps. Dane then gets into his face and yells and wants him to send a warning and tell his friend Pete Dunne that I have unfinished business with him. He said Pete Dunne, yes. So yes, Pete Dunne, because if you remember, he did snap Killian Dane's fingers a couple weeks ago. Which, of course, Pete Dunne is facing off against Damian Priest next week, so I fully expect to see Killian Dane get involved with that match next week. You understand they're backstage warming up for their match in the main event. Back from break, and we see a vignette of Angel Garza talking about his family, his uncle Hector Garza, and all the Garza family. And quite honestly, it's awesome. I love seeing these video packages for the NXT stars. It gets you to know them a little bit better. You get a little bit inside look at what they're about. So great to see that. Kathy Kelly is in the crow's nest, and she reveals that Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler will be team captains for the women's WARGAMES match. She says the women's locker room is buzzing for the match, and updates will be coming soon. Not today, not yesterday, not tonight, but soon. I fully expect we have 3-4 weeks left, and I fully expect something to happen, and we get updates on the roster for the next 2 weeks. We'll definitely probably have the rosters filled out by the end of before the go home show for sure. Main event time: Undisputed Era versus Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. Hell of a match. Matt Riddle and Keith Lee, they were talking about how these guys have teamed up sometimes on the independent scene. I honestly could see these guys being the next in line to take on the Undisputed Era for the tag team titles. Keith Lee and Matt Riddle come out first. Out come the tag team champions after that. The bell rings and Riddle gets taken out first, and then they just go at it for Keith Lee, which is smart. Keith Lee, the bigger, beefier guy of the two that they're facing, take down Matt Riddle, send him to the outside, and let's get the licks in on Keith Lee while we have shot. Lee levels Fish with a huge shot in the middle of the ring, and fans chant his name. Lee avoids a double team to the floor and knocks O'Reilly from the apron to the floor. Fish joins O'Reilly on the floor to regroup. Riddle drops O'Reilly at the ringside. Riddle backs Fish into the ring, and Lee drops Fish with a shoulder as he re-enters. Riddle tags in and rocks Fish with a big overhead chop as Lee holds him. Lee does the same. O'Reilly comes over, but he also has takes big chops. Lee and Riddle dominate the champions now. Riddle with a big jackhammer on Fish in the middle of the ring. The screen splits as we go to commercial break, which is kind of weird because when SmackDown was on USA Network and they did picture-in-picture, we didn't get a picture-in-picture in the main event. Every other match at the beginning of the show. AEW did the same thing last night, too, for their main event. We would get picture-in-picture for the main event match, which is kind of a nice change, but again, when I'm not watching it live and if I'm watching it on tape or something, or if I'm watching it somewhere else, I just want to get through this and get to when the match is going, because you're just watching commercials, and I don't want to watch commercials when I'm not watching it live. Fish rocks Riddle with a running shot into the jaw to turn it around. O'Reilly tags in and unloads on Riddle in the middle of the ring. Match comes closer. We get closer a little bit later in the match, and Riley goes back to work on Riddle now with a big kick to the face. Riddle fights off the chance with kicks and then double knees. They counter him with two big kicks at the same time. O'Reilly with a brainbuster. Fish covers, but Lee breaks the pin up. O'Reilly with a huge guillotine submission now as Riddle resists. Fish rocks Lee on the apron and angers him. Riddle kicks Fish and avoids a double team, then tags in Lee. Lee runs wild on both opponents as fans pop. Lee runs the ropes and nails a double clothesline for another pop, and he launches both opponents through the air at the same time. He does Lee with a double backdrop as well. But O'Reilly takes out Lee to save Fish, and Fish lands on Lee's jaw. We get closer to the end of this thing. NXT champ Adam Cole and North American champion Roderick Strong run down and hit the apron, but Riddle knocks both of them out as he's now the legal man. He keeps control and knocks Adam Cole to the floor, I believe. Riddle nails a big twisting Asai moonsault from the apron to everybody else on the floor, taking all four members of the Undisputed Era out. Absolute thing of beauty. Fish and Riddle pounds to send Cole. Fish and Riddle go out in the ring. Riddle with a ripcord knee. Lee with a big pounce to send Cole into Strong on the floor. This leads to Fish and O'Reilly hitting the total elimination total elimination on Riddle for the 1, 2, 3. So Undisputed Era end up winning the match. But after the match, they start attacking Keith Lee. Then Riddle. Then out comes Tommaso Ciampa to a big pop. He runs down the ramp with his crutch, his good old-fashioned crutch. Drops O'Reilly with it at ringside. Then Strong, I believe, gets on the ropes. He actually hits him at the leg, knocking him out of it. He enters the ring and continues swinging the crutch, taking down Fish. Cole and Ciampa stare each other down. Ciampa drops O'Reilly as he charges. Ciampa unloads on O'Reilly as Cole retreats. O'Reilly is left alone in the ring with Riddle, Lee, and Ciampa. Ciampa sends O'Reilly into the final flash knee from Riddle. Lee grabs O'Reilly, and I thought maybe he's going to slam him and then pick him up and launch him over, but no, he just picked him up and launched him onto the others on the outside. Fans chant NXT. Ciampa spots the NXT title laying on the mat. Fans are chanting Goldie, Goldie. As Cole yells Ciampa, keep your hands off of that. Keep your hands off. That's my title. Keep your hands off of it. Ciampa looks to go and grab the title, but he just stops. And then he has a mic and he says, Goldie, you're going to have to wait. Daddy's going to war. Throws the mic away. Throws the mic towards the Undisputed Era on the outside. Cole runs over, grabs his belt, and joins his teammates up the ramp. The two sides face off from the stage and the ring as we go off the air. So we have the Women's War Games match, which we don't know who's going to be outside of Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley. This match, I'm telling you right now, I'm more excited for this match. I don't care that, it's history, the first ever Women's War Games match. I don't care about history when it comes to that. Give me the 8 best women you have for that match. Honestly, in my opinion, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, Tegan Nox, and Dakota Kai have no business being in the War Games match at this time. If it was next year and Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai had been there for a year working their asses off and being improving, then yes, War Games fine by me. Marina Shafir, Jessamine Duke got at least 2-3 years before they were anywhere close to being worthy of a War Games match. This one right here, the Undisputed Era have had problems with Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, and Tommaso Ciampa since Ciampa has come back. Matt Riddle for months, Keith Lee recently, and obviously the final member has got to be Johnny Gargano. This match has been building inside and out for weeks, if not months, just little by little. The first piece was Adam Cole winning the NXT Championship. The second piece was Tommaso Ciampa making his return. The third piece was having Matt Riddle and Keith Lee stick their nose in Undisputed Era business. This has been building. Again, I didn't know. I thought when Imperium made their debut on the NXT brand that it was going to be Imperium versus Kushida and like a bunch of three other people, maybe Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and Johnny Gargano. No idea. But now it's quite clear that the Undisputed Era are going to be in the third War Games that they have been in. Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Adam Cole, and I believe Roderick Strong have all commented on this. I don't remember what Adam Cole and the other ones did, but I know that Kyle O'Reilly did come out and say that you're asking for your careers to be shortened because War Games is our domain. All of them have hashtagged War Games, so yes, it has not been confirmed, but I do already know this is going to be your men's War Games match, and rightfully so. This match will be something to get excited about. If they build the women's War Games match right, I'll be a little bit more excited about it, but quite honestly, it just hasn't had that, well, if there was 4 horsewomen, if they would have had Shayna Baszler, Jessamyn Duke, Marina Shafir, and Ronda Rousey on this show, just running roughshod over NXT, then it may be make a little bit more sense because it would be the 4 horsewomen of MMA versus 4 women in NXT, in the NXT Women's Division in a War Games match. Right now, it just feels like we're going to throw a War Games match together because 8 to 10 women can't get along. That doesn't scream War Games to me. This does not scream War Games to me. What they did in the main events with Ciampa, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, and the Undisputed Era, that screams War Games. The women's match does not. That's just my opinion. You don't like it? I don't care. That's my opinion, and that's all I gotta say about that. War Games finally starting to shape up. Unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to have any title matches except for possibly Lio Rush putting the title on the line. That would probably be about it. Maybe Asuka and Kairi Sane if you can find 2 women. I doubt it though. Maybe Volta, maybe Kaylee Ray, maybe Gallus can bring their titles over from the UK and give us a title match. Probably Volta. Who against who? I don't know. But right now it's like we have so they have 2 options for the War Games match. Johnny Gargano, that might be him and Finn Balor. So what I'm thinking is if they don't do Gargano for DIY and Keith Lee and Matt Riddle, it'll be Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, Tommaso Ciampa, and Velveteen Dream. That makes sense too because Velveteen Dream also has had problems with the Undisputed Era. The biggest reason this doesn't make any sense and the women's War Games match does not make any fucking sense is because outside of her 2 cohorts of Marina Shafir and Jessamyn Duke, Shayna Baszler has been in running roughshod over the entire women's division. If you would have had Shayna Baszler, Jessamyn Duke, Marina Shafir, and Ronda Rousey would have been in NXT at this time instead of on the main roster when she was, then it would have made more sense because it would be the NXT Women's Division trying to band together to take out the 4 horsewomen. Just because you have these three women here, Jessamyn Duke, Marina Shafir, and Shayna Baszler, let's just put Io Shirai with them and possibly Bianca Belair, which makes no sense. The women's War Games match does not scream War Games to me. It just feels like it's forced because WWE wants to get that first time ever out of the way. We have a first time ever War Games women's match. Do the women eventually deserve to have a War Games match? Yes. If you build the women right, if you have the women. The women's War Games match would have been great in 2014 or 2015 when you had Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. When you had the 4 horsewomen of WWE before we even talked about having the MMA girls here. You could have those 4 against 4 women on NXT's roster. At the time, I don't know who you would have grabbed. That's the problem. If you had the 4 horsewomen of WWE today against the horsewomen and Io Shirai, that would scream War Games to me. This does not. And it's not going to unless they figure out how to make it feel like it's worthy of a War Games match. Because right now, the women don't. Plain and simple. I'm not saying they shouldn't have a War Games match. It just doesn't scream that this is the right time for a War Games match. They should be building towards it instead of just forcing it just to get it out of the way. But that is my NXT review for this episode, for this Halloween evening, as this was the pre-Halloween Eve version of NXT. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Follow me on Twitter at The France Club. Follow me on twitch.tv/The France Club. Go check out The France Plays. A latest episode of The Curse of Osiris has been uploaded and ready to go. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for a piss-poor episode of SmackDown on Friday. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.